Hi everyone, Home Service Pros here. Today we're going to show you how to change out a fill valve on a toilet. This fill valve is continuously filling the toilet and not shutting off. You can see the water spilling out of the top of the cap there. So we're going to go ahead and get that guy changed out and make it good as new. So first thing you got to do is shut the water off to the toilet, which down here, there's a valve down by the floor here. You just shut this guy all the way off and that should stop the water inside the toilet. From there, we're going to disconnect the supply line from the bottom of the toilet, which is down here on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and release that. You get a little bit of water on the floor. There's nothing you can do about that. So we'll go ahead and get that disconnected. We're going to flush the toilet and get as much water out of that toilet as we can. So after we do that, if you look down inside the toilet, there's still quite a bit of water down in there. And if we pull the nut down here, which is this guy right here, if we pull that nut to get the fill valve out, all that water that's inside the tank is going to spill out onto the floor. So what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to grab my shop vac and we're going to suck the water out of that toilet. Okay, I grabbed my shop vac. Now that I have that in the room here with us, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn that on and I'm going to suck the water out of the tank. And as you can see, we went ahead and we sucked all the water out of the tank. So now when we pull this fill valve, we're not going to have a bunch of water coming out onto the floor. All right, so now we have all the water out of the tank. We're going to go ahead and disconnect and pull the fill valve. So the first thing you're going to do is, if you're looking up here in the toilet, we're going to go ahead and pull this fill tube out of there. And we can just go ahead and pop it right off. It just pulls off. Take this whole fill tube, get it right out of your way. So down underneath here, you can see that nut on the bottom of the fill valve. We're going to go ahead and loosen that nut up. All you should need for tools for doing this is just a pair of channel locks. So I got my channel locks here. We're going to go ahead and loosen that nut up. Once you get loose a couple of turns, you should be able to go ahead and loosen this up the rest of the way by hand. We're just going to go ahead and take that nut completely off. I would have a couple of rags here because there's still just a little bit of water left in that tank. So when we pull that, we might just get a couple of drips of water. Just go ahead and wipe that off. Now, that fill valve will come right on out. Now that we have that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get the new fill valve, and we'll get that installed. So this is a brand that I recommend. It's pretty universal for all toilets. Pretty easy to set up. We'll go ahead and pull it out of the box. Looks very similar to the one that we just took out. What I normally do is I take the old one. You can see that they're different links. Well, these are adjustable. So you go ahead and you loosen this collar up that's on this. You just pick it up and you can go ahead and you can spin this fill valve or pull this fill valve in and out to adjust it for length. So what I do is I make it to where my old one and my new one is pretty close to the same height, and that'll get me really close on being pretty much pre-adjusted right out of the box. So then after you have that adjusted, you're going to go ahead and take this collar and pull it right back down on, and it locks on like that. That makes it to where this can no longer move. We got our rubber that's already in place on the bottom of the fill valve. All we're going to do is reinsert that. You can see there's a hole down in the bottom of the tank. We're going to go ahead and just take that, and we're just going to insert it right down in that hole. After we get that in there, go ahead and get you back down here where you can see what I'm doing. We're going to take the new nut, put it right back on the fill valve here, and we're going to go ahead and get that guy snugged right back down. Just get it hand tight, and then you want to come up here, and you can see the port over here on the fill valve. This right here. This is the actual fill port to fill the bowl. So we want to make sure that that's not facing back toward the wall. Now that we know that that's in a good position, We're going to go ahead and grab our channel locks here. We're going to give this a couple of turns just to get it good and tight so we know that that's not going to leak. You don't need to go too tight with it because it is plastic and it will break if you over tighten it. Just once it feels like it's tight, just give it maybe just a little, like a half a turn more. We're going to go ahead and reconnect our supply line to the fill valve. In this style here, they're rubber sealed, so you do not need to go any more than hand tight with this. Once you get it there, give it a good turn as much as you can by hand. And now our supply line is all hooked back up to the toilet. So now we're going to take our new fill tube. We're going to go ahead and put it right onto that nipple. And then we're going to go ahead and clip this right back on here. So that's going to fill our bowl. Now that that fill valve is installed, we'll go ahead and turn the water back onto the toilet and see what happens here. Remember, we got the valve down by the floor. We're going to go ahead and just turn this on, and you're going to hear that water starting to flow into the toilet. Now, as you can see, we're filling here, which is filling our bowl, and the tank itself is filling up. We don't have that water spilling all out around this cap up here. Now we're going to give that just a few minutes to see where our water level comes up to. You've got our fill tube right here. Our fill tube, we don't want the water to come up over the top of this, then it just spills into the bowl. We want that water level to be down about 1 inch below the top of that fill valve when it shuts off. Let's see where it shuts off at. And again, we pre-adjusted it to get it close, but we may have to make some adjustments. As you can see, it's about 1/2 inch. So to adjust this, you simply just, with this style here, you just have this knob on the top, and if you adjust the float down, that's going to make this shut off sooner. So if we adjust that down about 1/2 inch, we'll go ahead and flush the toilet and let it fill back up and see where it shuts off at now. And that's about perfect. It shut off about 1 inch down from the top of that. So now the fill valve is fully installed. We know it's operating properly. The only other thing we want to do is we want to come back around, but we want to go ahead and look down underneath this again and just make sure that we don't have any leaks around the nut here and or the supply line. Get it nice and dry with a rag, and then just watch it for a few minutes and just make sure it doesn't get wet again. If it doesn't get wet, we're in good shape. I don't see any drips or anything like that, so we should be good to go. So after doing all of that, we can go ahead and put the tank lid back on. Get that set there, and we'll go ahead and get the tank lid set back on the toilet. And we have successfully changed out the fill valve on the toilet. There we go, guys. We changed out a fill valve on a toilet. It's working the way that it's supposed to. So if you guys found today's video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps it grow. Comment below with any questions. Make today a great day. And remember, you can do this. Thanks, guys.